Hey everybody, welcome back. It has been quite a while since I've done any videos on Ruthie. It's been quite a while since I've done any videos at all. Just thought I would do a real quick update, let you know what was going on with the old girl. And as you can see, not a lot has changed. She's still sitting in the same spot she was in my last video. And the little banger is still in the car. I did put it back together. And we've been driving it a little bit here and there. I did. It's probably tough to see right now. Probably see better from the front here. I bought one of those cheap eBay aluminum radiators, and you can see that cap is way off and wrong. And I don't recommend buying these radiators. You know, you can buy them, they're all over eBay. And it says it's for a 30, 31, but I had to do a lot of work just to get it to that point where it would sit. Absolutely nothing fits the way it should on it. So I honestly would not recommend it. But it got the old girl back on the road for a little bit. And since my last video, I have picked up I picked up two Flatheads that are going to replace the banger. And if you don't remember, this old girl here, she's seen better days. She is pretty well done. This little engine runs like a top. It never fails to fire. It's a pleasure to drive, but it's got so many problems. It's just not worth the effort. And I've always wanted a Model A with a Flathead V8, so that's what's going to happen. Now, initially, I picked up an 8BA that was a running engine. That was what I was going to use originally, was that 8BA, and I really liked those engines a lot. I had a 53 Ford F100 that was a flathead and a 3-speed, and it was an 8BA, and just fantastic engines. But to me personally, I don't think they look quite right in a Model A, and it's just aesthetics more than anything for me. But that kind of him-hauled around with it a little bit, and then I happened to come across this complete 3821 stud with a 3-speed ready to go. It was a takeout out of a 38 sedan delivery, and the guy had no plans for it. He was putting if I remember right, a 351 Windsor in the truck. So I picked it up cheap, and it is literally the filthiest engine I have ever seen in my entire life. And you're talking, and I'm a guy who's owned Ford FEs over my life many times, and I know all about sludge and any kind of goo that you could have in an engine, but I have never, ever, ever seen one quite as sludged up as that 21 stud. And I will insert some videos here that I took as I disassembled it. I didn't really video a lot just because it's awful. I mean, you know, the thing of it is that it looks like the engine is pretty low mileage, but it's just sludge from one end to another. I mean, there was a layer of crud. It's almost like whoever owned this truck, they would go out and just, you know, spray the engine down with oil before that they would drive it down dirt roads. You know, I mean, it's unbelievable how much filth was on that engine when I bought it. And I am slowly but surely getting it cleaned up. So I'll add in some of the videos that I took and show you just what I was talking about. This is, without a doubt, the nastiest engine I have ever torn down that actually run. I had this thing running just a few weeks ago. And I mean, I have scraped and scraped and scraped and scraped filth off this thing. And how this thing ran is beyond me. I mean, just look at that lifter valley. Sorry about the sirens in the background. That's just the world we live in today. That's incredible. I've torn down a lot of engines in my life, and a lot of nasty engines. Heck, I'm the guy who's owned multiple Ford FE engines, and if you know anything about FEs, you know that they are best and most efficient and most comfortably wrapped in a layer of filth. And this thing has them all beat. That box down there is nothing but stuff I've scraped off this engine, and I ain't even really started yet. Well, it's not clean, but it's a heck of a lot cleaner. Went through nearly a whole bottle of degreaser and 2 rounds of Easy Off to get here, but it's a manageable layer of filth now. And the lifter valley is still not good, but it's better than what it was, so we'll just keep at it. Well, just got the oil pan down, and ooh, that is nasty. I knew it wouldn't be pretty in here, but ooh. There's the pickup that was fully encased in goo. So I'm really glad I didn't run this engine more than just a couple minutes. Not even a full minute each time, probably about 30 seconds. Hopefully the nasty part will be over here shortly. The clutch is well used, but nothing I wouldn't expect. Flywheel looks pretty good in there. It's tough to screw up a flywheel like that. But clutch is seized to the pressure plate just from sitting, probably rusted up. Really, this kind of, I don't know, I don't think this engine had a whole lot of miles on it. Just by first glances. Still amazed sometimes this thing ran. I mean, look at that. Look at that. Ugh. Rest of it looks pretty good. But that's nasty. That's normal wear. I want to show you this real quick. This right here. This is all just paraffin from the old oil that was running these cars back in the day. It's just one gigantic ball of goo there, and it's all the way through this engine, and you've seen that, the pan and everything. But when people out, you know, you see the comments on forums and Facebook groups and whatever about what oil should I use in my whatever. No matter what kind of oil you use today, it's better than this stuff. No matter what it is. Here are the number 1 and number 5 bearings. If you've never seen the bearings, the connecting rod bearings out of one of these 36-7 early 38 engines, you have one bearing for both rods on a journal. It's kind of a weird setup, but I guess it worked. Not terrible. Actually, that's the best thing I've seen out of this engine so far. Everything's cruddy, but not too bad. You know, that right there, but that could have just been where it sat so long and then I got it loose and probably knocked that loose. Now we'll see what the other ones look like. And here the 21 stud is completely disassembled. I will say, not to brag on myself, but I will say I am very, very impressed with the fact that I got all the studs, all the bolts, all the plugs in the engine out, and only broke one, and it was that exhaust manifold bolt right there. And I just really wasn't paying attention when I took it out. But it's where I'm cleaning it up, and it's looking better as I go along. You know, this is there's the more you clean, the more you find, and the you can't really tell because I'm in here in the garage. The lifter valley still looks terrible, but it's looking a lot better than what it did when I first started disassembling it. So I'm going to send the crank and cam off to get reground, cleaned up. I have bearings, gaskets, and whatnot on the way. So, and I'll start making more videos as I put this old girl back together. I'm really, really excited about this. This is going to be a lot of fun. And my plan is more or less just a stock rebuild. You know, I've kind of searched for a direction. I've gone a couple different ways with what I want to do with this car. And what I finally decided, what I really want this to be is, okay, here's a good scenario. Let's say it's post World War II, right after World War II, you're a 16-year-old kid with an after-school job, and you have the urge for a hot rod. You know, and you save your money and you save your money and you buy a 31 sedan. You wanted a coupe or a roadster, but you didn't have the money for that. So you bought a sedan, which my car is a sedan. You wanted a 24 stud. Well, you know, those are still brand new motors, but you know somebody who's got a wrecked 38 Ford with a 21 stud in it. So you've got a 21 stud. And honestly, let's put a little thought into this. We all have this idea of what post-war hot rods were. And we always have that vision of 3 deuces, finned aluminum heads, chopped, channeled, you know, on and on and on. You know, everybody knows what that is. And what I call that car is a dream car. That's not how it was, but that's how we wanted it to be. And I think this engine in this car is going to be more what probably was than cars like that. You know, those are dreamer cars. Those are over the top builds that probably very few people actually built in the late 40s, early 50s. I would venture a guess that the majority of those cars that were built at that time was more like a bone stock Model A with a bone stock flathead in it. Maybe you know, a 2-carb intake, but outside of that, basically just a stock engine. You know, I would almost venture to guess that there was a lot more of those than there were of those what I call dream rods. Now, the dream rods, obviously, those are the ones that are always pictured because those were the coolest and baddest cars at the time. And the other cars didn't get any attention, but I still think there was a lot more of them than there were of the chopped, channeled, like I said, fin aluminum head, 3-deuce intake, hot rods that we all know and we all dream about. So I think this is going to be more fun. I think it's going to be a lot more reliable and a lot more drivable than cars like that. When you really get into customizing, especially these old cars, they look great sitting in a parking lot, but they're a nightmare to drive sometimes. So that's my plan. That's my plan. Basically, I'm building this as a post-war broke teenager, which makes sense because I'm a 21st century broke mature citizen. Not necessarily old, but mature. So anyway, that's what we're doing. I think this is going to be a really fun build, and I really enjoy doing this. And this is one of those bucket list things, something I've wanted to do my entire life. So, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. As always, I'm going to do more videos, like I said, as I get parts together and we start putting this old girl together and get it in the car. So I appreciate everybody who watches. I really do. I've continued to gain subscribers even when I wasn't making videos, which is absolutely awesome. I think that's just fantastic. So I really appreciate all the support. If you like what I'm doing, subscribe. If you could possibly leave me a like and a share. And I do want to add one more thing. Some of you may remember this 71 F100 that I did a video on and intended to do more videos on, but then I got into this work with the Model A and the pickup went to the back burner. But it has a very, very happy ending and a very, very cool story. This truck sat, and I didn't do anything with it because I was working on my Model A, and I decided, about a month ago that, okay, I'm not doing anything with this truck. I need to just get it posted and get it sold. Well, as it turns out, the day that I posted it, and this was just very random, just out of nowhere that I posted it, a gentleman contacted me and was asking very, very, very specific questions about the truck. And I was really kind of curious about it. I mean, the kind of questions that you would have to know the truck to ask. And I realized that this gentleman's last name was the same last name that was on the title that I had received when I bought this truck. Now remember, I bought this truck in Indianapolis off this random used car lot in not the best areas of the south side of Indianapolis, if you know anything about the south side of Indianapolis. But anyway, I said, hey, this is the name, that's the last name of the person that's on the title to this truck. And he says, yes, that was my grandfather. My grandfather bought this truck new, and when he passed, it went to my dad, and when my dad passed, they sold the truck. And it's just such a crazy random thing that I made this just out of the blue post to sell this truck, and that this guy actually saw the ad and responded and realized that it was his dad's truck or his grandfather's truck. And we met the next day. He was ecstatic to get the truck back, took it back home to Seymour, Indiana, and just couldn't be happier. And I honestly couldn't be happier either. That is the absolute best case scenario of what could have happened to that truck. There was a lot of talk from different people who wanted the truck, who wanted to do a Crown Vic swap on it, or and not that any of that would have been a terrible thing, but I was really glad to see this truck go back to the family that originally owned the truck. And it was just such a good feeling to be able to do that with that family. And because how many times have we sold things and and never saw him again, and never thought we would see him again, and you don't know what happened to him, you know, especially vehicles. I've done that with several vehicles over the years. I don't want to know what happened to them once they were gone. You know, I don't want to know what other people did to them. So, but that was really great. I really enjoyed that, and I was really happy to get that truck back to the family of the original owner. So, thanks again for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll be back again with more videos. Thanks.